Hey there YouTube, my name is Brad, I'm the Harley Davidson Wizard. I wasn't planning on making this video, but I had a customer that had some concern or expressed some concerns, so I was thinking maybe other people are concerned about this in the world, so might as well take a moment and make a video of this since I'm going to be doing it anyways. But today we are working on Paul's Ultra Classic. I'll do a link at the end to the original video where the rear cylinder was leaking oil. We're going to be replacing the cylinder studs. Let me move the camera around so you can get a view of what we're going to be doing. Alright, so we have the cylinders off the engine, and these are the stock cylinder studs, which are fine, you know, as you're doing stock stuff and whatever, and pretty decent performance-ish stuff. But we were having a problem with the rear head gasket leaking oil. Again, I will do a link back to that other video, but since we're here, we might as well do high performance cylinder studs. This is a high performance engine. The cylinder studs that we're going to be using are from Feuling. They're pretty badass cylinder studs as far as studs go. What we're going to be doing is heating up the engine case right around where the studs thread into the engine case and pulling them out. So essentially why I'm making this video is the customer came in and he used to have an Evo, and one of the cylinder studs had pulled out of the engine case. So he was concerned about the integrity of the engine case and just what's going to happen and how you do it and everything, and I'm not concerned about it because I've done it a lot of times. There isn't any real problem associated with cylinder studs and threads in twin cam engine cases, but the stock cylinder studs have I don't know what you'd call that, but they have like they have a shoulder, that's what you call it. They have a shoulder at the bottom of the stud, and when you buy these studs, they come with Loctite on them, red Loctite. So you twist them into the engine case, and then you torque them down to the spec that's in the service manual. I don't remember what that is offhand for stock cylinder studs, but the new cylinder studs from Feuling that we have their own torque measurement, so we're going to be doing that. But what we want to do is heat up the engine case to break down the Loctite so that the cylinder studs effortlessly spin out of the engine case, because we don't want to put any type of added stress here on the threads that are in the engine case for any type of reason we don't have to. So let's go over to the bench and we'll look at the tools we're going to be using. So we're going to be using these. They're essentially two nuts, but these are cylinder hold down nuts. They are they're an aftermarket accessory. They're nice because when you're doing like mock-up of like twin cam stuff, it helps hold the cylinder down. But we're going to put them back to back like this, use them as a jam nut, and then a wrench to pull the cylinder stud out. We're going to be using the MAP gas to heat up the engine case. We're just going to heat it up enough to break down the Loctite. And then we're going to be using the instructions that come with the Feuling kit. It tells you the torque to apply to the cylinder studs. And the kit itself, it comes with these really nice ARP head bolts. And then the actual cylinder studs themselves. I was nervous for a second. I looked in there and I was like, oh man, there's only 7, but there's 8. And then the cylinder stud itself. These are really nice cylinder studs that come from Feuling because they also have a shoulder on them. Where like if you use the Screaming Eagle cylinder studs, they suck because they don't have that shoulder, I mean. And then, so once we get the old cylinder studs out, we're going to let the engine case cool, and then I'm going to clean out the threads with a thread chaser just to clean up the Loctite that's left in there, along with the brake cleaner just to get any type of residue or poop out of it. And then we're going to put the new cylinder studs back in. So here's an idea of what we're doing. I just use an old base gasket to hold the connecting rod out of the way so that I can use the torch to heat up the inside area, because this is the closest area to the threads of the cylinder studs. Plus it also doesn't have a cosmetic coating like the wrinkle finish on the outside of the engine. So it's the quickest to heat up and it's the less noticeable to see. Not that you'll notice any type of color or deterioration to the aluminum, but it's just easy to do. So I'm going to put you in the stand. I'll probably show the first one, maybe the second one, and then probably do a time lapse of all 8 of them, but here we go. Alright, we're just going to start here just because. No reason in particular. See if I can get a better angle for this. It's hard to see if you can see through there. We're just getting our jam nut set up. This is pretty basic stuff, but oh well. Then we just tighten the 2 jam nuts together. I don't know if you can see the flame, but it's in there. We're starting to heat it up. We're going to give it a couple seconds, and then we're just going to apply a light amount of torque to this bottom nut. And once that Loctite breaks loose, it's just going to loosen right up. Our MAP gas tank is getting pretty low. I have an extra one. We'll probably be changing it out here. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to change it out real quick. There we go. Fresh can. Right there. See how easy that starts backing up? Now we're going to get it to the other side with ratchet. And get it while it's still warm. And it just pulls out that easy. Right there at the very bottom, you can see that Loctite patch that we were talking about. We just got it just warm enough where it started to break down that Loctite. Like, it's not even really that warm. It's just the aluminum that we heat up real quick. That way it doesn't damage the aluminum at all, and then it doesn't damage the stud. Well, at least the threads for the stud in the engine case. So let's keep on going. Now we're going to do its friend over here, the other front stud. You could use any type of nuts, it doesn't matter. And this rear cylinder is the side that was leaking oil from the head gasket, and because of a situation that happened with the top of the cylinder and the cylinder sleeve separating, when I pulled it off, all of these cavities were full of oil, and it was like it almost splashed oil out when I pulled the cylinder up. And you can see there's a little bit of oil just like hanging around the bottom of the studs, but it's kind of like wicked its way into the threads itself. So another good reason why we're going in here and replacing the studs, at least getting in there and cleaning out the threads and making sure that our new cylinder studs are going to fit nice and tight. Let's keep going. Alright, now that we have all of the cylinder studs out, we're going to go through and clean the threads. It's still a little bit warm. Not really, it's like slightly warm. As you can see, I'm holding my hand on it, and it's actually kind of pleasant because it's cold down here. But we're going to go through with our thread chaser. This isn't a tap. You can see it's just a thread chaser. And you should really be able to do it basically by hand. If you're using a power tool or something, then you're hogging out the aluminum, making the thread fit different than it's supposed to be. We're just trying to go in there and loosen up any of the Loctite that's left and bring it back out, and then we'll be able to go back in here and clean out the threaded hole itself. I don't know if you can tell, but there's these little flutes in this thread chaser. And there's a little bit of red jazz right there. And that's just the poop that we're trying to loosen up and pull out. So I like to go and clean the thread chaser out in between every single hole, just because. And I'm definitely going to speed this up because nobody's going to want to watch me do all of this for all 8 of them. But I'm going to get to it. Look at all that oil and crap on there. Look at it. Good thing we're cleaning all that jazz out. So again, this is just the way I do it. You can, if you have a better way of doing it, let me know and I'll do it that way. But it looks good, I can tell you that. If you ever wanted to see a good looking threaded hole, it looks just like that. Let's keep on going. Right there, you can see all the crap that it blew out of there. Check it out. On certain engine case designs, these two right here are kind of bored and connected through, a little bit. And when I was filling it up with liquid, I could tell that it was coming out the other side. Also, in other engine case designs and other bore combinations, you want to make sure that it's not, that you aren't just like spraying and leaking all the stuff through the center bolt hole, because a lot of times these are kind of tied together because of that. So you just want to make sure that you aren't like blowing it into the engine case, because that'd be exactly what you're trying to not do. But let's see if I can get you off the tripod so that you can look down in there and you can see how nice and dry those threads are. And then we'll go look at the new ARP ones from Feuling. Alright, so this is what we're after. We aren't trying to like clean up every bit of the thread and make it all shiny with a tap and have a bunch of little pieces of aluminum on it. We're just trying to clean up what we have, make sure that the threads are nice and clean so that the Loctite, the new Loctite, has a good place to dry up and adhere to. Once I go to put the cylinders and stuff back on, I'll go through and do a little more work as far as cleaning up where the base gasket fits and everything. But as of right now, we're just concerned with the holes and making sure that they're all nice and clean. Clean and dry, because we don't want to have a bunch of oil in there, potentially mess up the way that we're going to torque down our new studs and potentially mess up the new Loctite. So I didn't think that I was going to be making a half an hour video about cylinder studs, but we're doing it right now. Alright, here we go. We got a new Feuling ARP stud. It's gonna look very similar to the stock one, but the difference is what this is made out of and what this is made out of. Makes it all that much more stronger. So let's get them all unpacked. Alright, so I just took a quick break to go pee, but we're back now. Just double check we got all the stuff we're supposed to in here. And then I went over and I cleaned off all the new cylinder studs with brake cleaner, because they come with a little bit of oil on them so that they don't rust and stuff. It seems like you would clean, like the professional thing would be to clean that off with brake cleaner, so that's what we did, so that we would get a good application of the Loctite that's supplied with the kit. It has this assembly lube, but that's to go in between the head bolt and then the top of the stud. So it's pretty straightforward. It just says put the thing in, put the Loctite on it, and then to tighten it to 5 foot-pounds, and then tighten it to 10 foot-pounds. That's it. So we're gonna go get set up in the motorcycle. Here we go. Alright. With these, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna identify which side has the little step in it. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little fat part there. I'm just gonna put that in because that's the bottom side. I'm just gonna give it a couple threads. I'm going to do that with all of them so I don't do something stupid and mess it up and put them in upside down. So I'm going to apply the Loctite like it says, that's supplied with the kit, and then to tighten it down, this is part of an old mirror standoff. It goes on the bottom of the handlebars to hold the mirror, but it has the same thread pitch as a cylinder head stud or a cylinder head nut. But I went inside and actually I cut it off, and then I put a ball in there, and then I welded it over the top of it. So you can hear it's kind of loose. And then that way you can torque it down, and then the thing just comes right off. You could, you could use the double nut method just like you saw me use, but this is easier, and it was essentially free when I made it. So that's what I'm going to do. Here we go. It's a little tube, so you don't have to like use a whole buttload of it. Just a little bit like that. I'm going to put my little tool on. And we just need to run it down and seat it. But that shouldn't take much pressure. Seat it like that. And then torque it down just like that. And then I like to leave the surface clean. So I just go by with a little Q-tip, clean out any of the extra schmoo that squeezed out of there. And then I'll probably speed up, but now I'm going to do the rest of them. We're all finished up with the left side. We're just doing this right side now. Well, there you go. We got all 8 of the new Feuling studs in. Everything went perfectly as far as pulling them out, putting them back in. That's exactly what I was expecting. So we got all 8 of the Feuling studs in. Everything went as planned. You just got to be careful about taking them out. You don't want to be reefing on them. There's no need to. Just heat them up a little bit, at least the engine case. And they pop right out. Put the new ones in. So now we're going back together stronger than we were before, which I like. You know, when you're in there, you might as well do it the best that you can. This project's been waiting on the new cylinders from Harley Davidson. They've been on back order for a while because we're ultimately going to be sending those down to T-Man, and he's going to freshen the whole kit up and everything. So I'll bring you guys back when we get all this stuff together and have it all back together and just kind of do like a closing, but that's not going to be for a while. Thanks for watching. Bye.